What's going on, everybody? Welcome in, welcome in. Auntie is here. Auntie is here. Welcome to the third episode of the Jazz Noel Show, baby. Come on in and pull on up. We got some things to talk about today. Make sure you hit that like, that share, that subscribe button. Leave a comment. Let me know you're here. Let me know you're rocking with me. I appreciate y'all in advance. Sorry I am late. Okay. I got my times mixed up today. I totally forgot that I had a daytime outing scheduled for today. So, pardon my tardiness. Oh, that is not the right color. Let me give it a little more time. I hope everybody had a good holiday. Hope you ate good, fellowship with your family, because that's what it's all about, even though, we know what that really means. So just give me a second, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to pull some files up real quick before we get started. I promise not to have you for too long, but we're about to begin the show in just a second. Once again, thank you for being here. It's your girl, Jazz. Make sure you stay tuned. Give me 1 second. All right. So y'all, we're just going to get started. Forgive me because I definitely thought I had a folder ready, and I cannot find that folder that I was trying to use for the stream tonight, y'all. So bear with me, But welcome in. Happy Friday. Happy holidays. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And y'all, once again, you know why we are here, right? I know that the title of my thumbnail was very jarring. It's like, why would someone call themselves a useful idiot? But looking back at the last stream that I was on featuring Fatty, I realized that I made myself just that. And today I just kind of want to talk about that and kind of talk about how easy it is to take the bait when you are emotional. So, as you guys know, I attempted to do a live stream on Tuesday, and ultimately the goal was to continue to expose that Pearly thing for the racist hater that she is. Yes, she is. And I don't know who is in agreement that she is the opposite, but that was my goal. And unfortunately, it went left. And when I watched the stream back, I looked at it and I was like, wow, Jazz, you fucked up. You fucked up. The way, when I tell you, I looked back at that stream and looked at my behavior and how I was responding, I was disgusted so much that I cringed. And I text a couple of my homegirls like, yo, and and some of my homeboys like, yo, looking back at this, I did crash out a little bit. Should I delete this? Is this like bad, bad? And I went back and forth with it. I put it on private for a few hours, and then I said, "You know what? Just let it rock. It is what it is." But I realized I became a useful idiot because I knew better, right? Like, I knew from the inception of the interaction that my intuition was telling me, "Yo, maybe this isn't the best time to, do your stream in this way," especially me being still being very new as a content creator. I know a lot of people feel that I've been in this game for a long time, but it's a difference between being in the game as a panelist versus a content creator, right? And me finding my legs as a content creator, it's ebbs and flows. It's ups and it's downs, right? And ultimately, the narrative about me is being the one that's on the panel, very much so outspoken, crashing out, cutting people off, et cetera, et cetera. And I will admit, coming into this game, I was very like, what's up with it? Like, what's up with it? What's going on? There was no filter, there was no decorum. I lacked a lot of impulse control, right? And I do, even though it's easier to believe that I am still that way, I have made progress, guys. I have made progress. Um, I do know, even though yesterday was Thanksgiving, I was made aware that Fatty was going live, and I did tune in while I was, prepping for Thanksgiving, snapping peas or what have you. I heard a couple different things, a couple different points that he touched on when he was reacting to our situation, and there's just a lot of misunderstandings in the entire process, but ultimately, what it taught me was that I still have so much work to do. Just as a human being, as someone who is still learning emotional control and self-control and impulse control, especially in these environments, I realize that even though I have made progress, I'm still a work in progress. And what Fatty highlighted is that, girl, you have so much work to do because there was absolutely no reason for you to have gotten that excited, that hyped up, even though you were passionate about it, even though maybe you felt it was warranted. You're setting yourself up to look like a goofy when you do shit like that. And so when I watched it back, I was just like, damn, even though Fatty probably didn't have intentions to bait me into a crazy reaction, I gave it to him anyway. I gave it to him anyway. And because we did a dual stream, which was also unintentional, and we'll talk about that, his audience expected that, right? They expected that response from me, expecting me to be crazy, expecting me to be loud, expecting me to do all of the things that I fucking did. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. But this is what it was all about tonight. It was about holding myself accountable for my fucking actions. And I know that that description in this promo video got people a little riled up. It made me look like I was playing the victim, right? I know Fatty couldn't wait to screenshot it and do a whole stream about it. And that was kind of like my intention. It's showbiz, right? And it's just words, right? But it was enough to get the people going. It was enough to bring you guys here, for others to talk about me for hours on a stream and state their opinions. I love that all of that happened, because now it gives me an opportunity to really share how I really feel and where I fell short And it was kind of like one of those things where I'm sorry, I'm getting a phone call. It was one of those things where like, okay, I'm gonna say these words to try to get them to pay attention just to see what the reaction will get. Because what I'm learning is that's the name of the game in these YouTube streets, right? So we're going to take some time. I promise not to have you guys here long, but we're going to take some time to kind of react to the panel, the last panel that I did, where I invited Fatty up. Now, I will say this. There could have been subconsciously, I could have already been on the defense having this conversation with Fatty in particular. Um, just because all of the things that led up to the situation, right? And one of the things that I want to touch on is, especially as women, there's a reason why they say that a woman's intuition is everything, right? There's a reason why that is said. It is there for your protection. That is whatever higher being that you believe in, it's there to keep you in alignment with what's best for you. And when you don't listen to it, you will always be exposed. And there is no one else to blame but you when that happens. If you don't listen to that initial like gut response that says maybe not, if you do the opposite of that, you're going to get every outcome that you never wanted. And I'm going to tell you a little bit why I feel that way. So first, let me go ahead and share the screen. Once again, thank you guys for being here. Uh-oh. Okay. So this is the start of the video, kind of where Friday and I have this exchange. And when I watch this back, I'm just looking at myself like, girl, you haven't learned yet? You haven't realized what's happening now? You got to do better. So let's watch this in real time and let's talk about it.
Honey. That's and we can't help it to some degree. We cannot help that we are attracted to men that show signs of dominance. I think a lot of us we wish we could turn it off, but we can't. It's just what we're attracted to. We're biologically hardwired to do that. Unfortunately. So,
and this is what confused me because she went from dominant to all of these other things, and that's why I was confused. Because she's like, oh yeah, we like, violent men. And I'm just like, what? And she never said some women. She said, we as women. She made a generalization. I, as a woman, am included in that generalization. So my question to her was necessary to kind of walk down her point. Because as a woman, I've never had this experience. We're biologically hardwired to.
So she's offended, and I would assume it's because she dated a criminal. I'm going to assume. I think there was some.
And I also want to make this clear. I'm so over this whole Pearl situation, right? You guys can feel how you feel. I'm gonna say this one last time. My stance on this whole thing was that she made a general statement about women. I challenged that statement because I'm a woman. And then in turn, she made it about Black women. Now, a lot of people that have done these reactions to this feel that I should have known that even though she said all women are biologically like this, I should have known that she was particularly talking about white women when she made her example about Ted Bundy, right? But that's an assumption. I'm just going off of what she actually said, right? And in that moment, she didn't say that. So I understand now why people think me challenging her question was kind of dumb because everyone else felt that, oh, it was no reason to ask her Is that her personal experience? Because she just made it personal because even though she didn't say white women, she used a white murderer. So you should have just assumed she was talking about white women. I didn't make that assumption. I just thought she was genuinely talking about all women, right? And so that's where things kind of like how I interpret things and how other interpret things are different. Me, I'm sort of a literal person. You have to say a thing for me to believe that thing. I'm not going to assume anything else unless you make it plain to me. So I see why there was a little confusion with my understanding of what she said.
Someone there.
Yeah, I didn't even think that she said. Girl. And I think it's because she dated a criminal. Yeah, okay. Never in my life. However, you assume that because I'm Black. You assume that I must know about criminals and dating criminals just because I am Black. That's not racisty. That's not race baity. Like, how do you say you're not a race baiter by literally doing all of the baiting in real time, girl?
Because women get offended by this when they're dating the stable guy and they're like, oh, he can't know. He can't know.
Did you say we're biologically hardwired to want chaotic, criminal?
Well, dominant. Yeah, dominant. Because, you got to think of like Ted Bundy. He had women. Yeah, he had women writing him love letters. He impregnated a woman.
Again, she was saying women, y'all. She was just saying women. Forgive me if I didn't assume that she was speaking specifically about white women. She used this point to drive that point, but let's continue because this ain't even about that.
He impregnated a woman while he was in prison for murdering women. This is a real Luigi Mangione.
I don't think that's a woman thing. I think that's a thing that certain women do.
Well, now she's going into the not all women are like that. So I'm saying women like criminals. And by the way, I started with a white example. It was white women that were crushing on Ted Bundy and Louis.
But you didn't say that. And honestly, when she brought up the Ted Bundy reference, I was just like, yeah, it was weirdos. It was odd women that found Ted Bundy a weird ass murderous white man, attractive and sexy and all that. But here's the thing. I'm confused because you said this is what all women naturally do. You didn't say white women. You didn't say Black women. You said this is biologically hardwired in our bodies for us to like men like Ted Bundy, bitch. That's what you said. Don't try to clean it up.
And for me, I honestly didn't think that my question was antagonizing because her statement was kind of polarizing. So I'm just asking a question. And if you notice, like, nobody else said, like, come on, Jazz, why would you ask her that? Why would you? Because I thought maybe everyone thought it was a solid question, but
Up now, like, well, I'm challenging your thought process as a woman. Because, bitch, I ain't never been attracted to a murderer, a criminal, a violent person. Just because she went from dominant man to violent man to criminal man to murderous man, and that all women are attracted to that. No, bitch. No. And you're right. That is some white people shit. That is some white people shit. But to bring up the reference to try to prove your point that that's what women do, that's what I was challenging on.
So you believe that white women are attracted to criminals and murderers and dangerous men?
Well, when you think about it,
so here's where I was going wrong. And we're gonna pause and we're gonna talk about how that even was a part of this. So during this live, we're having this exchange. This was about exposing her. But in this interaction, I'm being asked questions about my stance on a situation. And so now I'm going to be on the defense, right? Because now I have to explain my position. I got to explain myself. He's asking me, so you believe white women, da 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 da. Now I have to explain my position. And at this moment, I could kind of feel myself kind of like feeling away because it's like, this is not what I came here to do, but this was my fault. Because as soon as I felt that way, even though what he's asking me, sure, valid questions in the moment, I should have did better to manage the situation so I don't become defensive. Because even though what he's asking, sure, it's a good question, in my mind, this isn't criticize Jasmine about her stance situation. It was about exposing her, and his purpose, obviously, for coming onto the channel was to talk to me about how I could have been better prepared for the situation, which we really never really got to. But here, the probing questions, when I watched it back, it was like, why did you get so outrageous, Jazz? Like, what was it that made it bubble up in you like that? The probing questions, me feeling like I have to defend myself, right? That's what it was. And that's why I'm like, okay, girl, this you should be able to handle this in a better way where you can still state your piece and not get offended that someone is questioning your stance. Even if you feel like the moment is not necessary for that. Does that make sense?
Their entire culture is rooted in crime.
So why did you fight her on that? Why didn't you let it go?
Why didn't I say what I just said now?
Yeah, if she used the generalization, which is most women, and she talk about white examples, why didn't you yourself let it go if you believe that women are attracted to dangerous, violent men, and majority of women in the United States are white? Like, why didn't you let it go?
So when she said it on the panel, Fatty, she just said women. So I'm still going off what she's saying that women naturally do. This was
Okay.
not the point where she made it about race. And I feel like if I would have said that's what white women do, it would have been a whole different outcome. It would have been, Jazz, why are you making it about race? It would have been a whole thing. So
Yeah.
I didn't even touch.
Which is true. Which is true. That's a fact. If I would have said like maybe white women did do that, only white girls know that, the whole panel would have went up in smoke. 1000%.
On the kind of women, because my first thought was, yeah, weirdos. I almost said weirdo, but I didn't. I
Yeah,
said,
sure, but she's not wrong, because if you know, like, just if you know anything about psychology, there's something called the dark triad traits: psychopathy, psychopathy.
And see, this is why we might have to pause and kind of build up to why Fatty was here. Because the line of questioning is fine. Were these questions answering the question that I asked him originally, which is why he came up here? He wanted to address me and tell me how I wasn't prepared. But in this moment, using words like, she is right, why didn't you do it this way? Why didn't you say this way? I didn't realize at that time that these were the things that were triggering me. These were the things that were getting me super hyped up. He's not wrong with asking me that. I don't know if this was the moment to be, challenging me on my stance. He's not wrong for that, but it's me, because I should know me better to know that this shit was about to piss me off. This was about to piss me off because I said what I said. She said what she said. And the focus was about what she said, not about my stance on what she said. But this became that, right? It became criticizing what I said. And I should have done a better job with making the situation a little less contentious instead of going back and forth with him about my stance on things. Like I said, he is welcome to answer the questions, but the type of questioning could have been done. We could have had this exchange at a different time, right? Let's go a little bit more, and I'm going to share a backstory on how this whole interaction happened.
Psychopathy, narcissism, and Machiavellism. Women are highly attracted to these traits because it's a survival mechanism. Is a survival mechanism. You're attaching yourself to the most ruthless man, to the man that can kill his opposition without no remorse, to the man that puts him and his family first, meaning the psychopath and the narcissist, and the Machiavellism, meaning the person that is willing to be conniving and to do all the planning to get all the resources to get everything for themselves. And this is not just in observation, but in science, you can actually look at these traits and you can make a statement that most women are attracted to these types. Your attraction is not something that you can control. Your action is something that you can control. I can be attracted to India Love because to me she has a great body, but I
And see this, you see my face? Do you see my face? Right then and there. It's like I feel you. This is not what we came to do. But I understand why this happened, right? I understand it. So I wanted to share, before we go back to that, I did want to share just a couple of things, right? Just a couple of things that will kind of show what led up to this moment. And I want to be truthful and I want to be honest and I want to make sure that I hold myself accountable too. And like, I can't, I cannot um, figure this out. So you know what? I'm just gonna share the screen on a different way. So once again, y'all, thank y'all for joining me. But let's talk about how this ended up happening, okay? I'm gonna share my screen one more time. I did not want to share like this, but here we are. And I don't know how to make it bigger than that. So I will read out loud for you, okay? Pay no attention to the other messages. All right, so you guys, I sent Fatty when I was going to do this second episode. I tend to send this since me getting in the game. I send out the link, letting people know that I'm going live, that I'm streaming live or whatnot, right? And I said this here. I said, I find it very interesting that you said we came unprepared for a debate with Pearl when none of us were on that panel to discuss stats on Black criminals. But because Pearl made it about that, all of a sudden we are the ones who were wrong and unprepared. How could we be prepared to a fight we didn't even know we were a part of? LOL, fascinating take. Anyway, going live tonight. Hope you care to join. Now, guys, when I said hope you care to join, I feel like that was like my first drop in communication. Because when I said hope you care to join, I believe that was taken as like a invitation to join the panel that I was planning to do. And like I told him after the whole situation, that was never my intention. My intention was to always do the stream alone. But that language, I believe, made him feel like, oh, if you like, oh, you're inviting me by saying, hope you care to join. You're inviting me to join your panel now. So that was my first mistake because right after that, and I'm gonna just read it, y'all, and I promise you, nothing is gonna be redacted. I'm not on that with y'all. Hold on one second. What the hell? What the hell? All right, fuck it. We're just gonna go back. Is it even showing like how I go and scroll? Oh, It's so annoying. Here we go. All right, so let me see. Okay. Oh my God, y'all can barely see that on this screen. My bad. But anyway, if you can't see it, I'm just going to read it out loud. All right, so I said what I said there, hope you care to join. This was just an invitation to come check me out while I go live, right? Wasn't necessarily an invitation to join the panel. So I asked him this question in the DMs, and he says, I'll jump on your panel and show you why you are unprepared. Send me the link. Right here should have been the first, right here when the message was sent. I was just like, that's interesting because this isn't a fight. And so I said, well, but why would I need to be prepared for a conversation about Black fatigue and stats on Blacks when the conversation was about relationships? You can ask me during the show. Again, I'm a little confused by this because I'm like, why we just can't talk about it now? But in his mind, I've invited him to the panel. And because he is a professional content creator in this realm, I'm thinking he's saying this because he's like, this conversation will get more views in hindsight, right? In the moment, I wasn't thinking like this. So he's just like, put me on the show, put me on the show. And I said, well, this isn't a fight. I don't want smoke with you. I'm just asking a question. He says, no smoke intended. I'll answer that during the show. So I was like, okay, fine. He said, drop the link. But I'm noticing now, I thought I already said, okay. But not even maybe 5 minutes after we had this exchange, this picture comes up, right? It says, confronting Jazz Noel on the Pearl situation. Now, at this point, I'm a little thrown off and a little bit uncomfortable because I'm like, confrontation? You know what I'm saying? Like, confrontation? We are not, this isn't a confrontation. I don't want confrontation with you. I was just asking a question in the DMs about your position on what I did or what me and someone else did. And I say, okay, you can maybe join. And then you go out and you put a promo and says confronting. So when I saw that, my intuition told me this is not the right time to have this conversation. This is not the right time to have this conversation because the way that it is being set up is like it's a fight. And his audience really hates me. So I was very much so like, what you on with me, bro? Like, why is this like what is this like why is this a thing? So I even said, and I'm so sorry about the view, y'all. I swear I had a whole file that said receipts on it, and I thought I was gonna be able to pull it up, but for some reason I can't find it right now. So bear with me, children. All right. So let's go back to what was said. Okay. So he said, I said, this ain't no fight. I don't want smoke. I'm just asking you a question. No smoke intended, he said. I'll answer that during the show. So he sent this, he posted this, right? So then I said, really, fatty? Hold on, let me make sure y'all can see this correctly. So I said, really, fatty? Confrontation? So he says, come on, Jazz, relax. Let me take this off. Okay, maybe y'all can see it better now. Well, you know what? Let me just do this. Don't pay attention to the sidebar, okay? Because I don't know how to collapse it. Y'all know Auntie old. But what did I want to do? We're gonna go here and we're gonna go here. And we're gonna go there. All right. So I said, really, fatty? Confrontation? He says, oh wait, that's what I was trying to do. I'm gonna try to make the scenery a little bit bigger. Bear with me, y'all. It's a Friday night. I was out. Is that a better view for y'all? Maybe so. Okay. Or maybe that's a better view. All right. All right. So I said, really fatty confrontation. He said, come on, Jazz, relax and send me the link. And I said, why is this a thing? I asked the question in DMs and now you want to fight with me? He says, LOL. I say, I'm not trying to fight you or be confrontational with you. This is not what I am on. Did I say I will fight you? Chill. And I said, man, I guess. He laughs at me because he know the game better than me. He knows the game better than me. So he like, girl, you're tripping. So I'm like, crazy how I'm being made the villain in this situation when I didn't even do anything to you or that girl. Like, damn, shaking my head. He said, you mad at a title that gonna have more people watching your show. Come on, man. Just chill. We not fighting. There's nothing to fight about. I said the title of that frames it as if we are at odds, and I just don't understand. Your audience already hates me and thinks I am the reason for this pearl mess. That title adding fuel to the fire, but okay. So then he says, as a singer, you should understand showbiz. We good. Which is interesting because this isn't good showbiz, right? This isn't, you know, oh, we're just gonna have a conversation and then you put out an image that says I'm confronting you. Different kind of showbiz, but okay. He says, as a singer, I say, as a singer, I don't do showbiz with folks that try to set me up or make me look crazy for no reason. Now, this is the part of intuition, ladies, because I'm literally saying it. This feels like a setup. Even if he wasn't trying to set me up, I knew that this was not going to go the way that I wanted it to go. I knew in my gut, and I didn't go with that feeling, right? So as a singer, excuse me, I said as a singer, I don't do showbiz with folks that try to set me up or make me look crazy for no reason. But if you say we're good, I'll take your word for it. And then he said, okay, didn't know you worked for Minority Report. I'm being arrested before I commit the crime. So that was how that happened, right? And because I was like, you know what? At this point, let's go ahead and have you join, right? I was open to having him join because I'm like, all right, let's recap this video of Pearl recapping about us, reviewing us, so you can see in real time how she was literally coming in to be disrespectful, to be a race baiter, because in her recap, she basically tells on herself. So I'm thinking it's a good conversation that we could both have. And of course, it took a turn because I'm not ready to be in situations where people are constantly criticizing me and I stay calm. I'm not ready. I'm not ready for it because even though he claims he wanted me to be prepared, right? He wanted to come and talk to me. He only wanted to say it while I was on the live stream. The line of questioning I felt didn't come from a place of like of giving me advice on being prepared. It was more so of just kind of like tearing me apart. At least that's how I was interpreting it. And that's why I'm like, you should have known better. You know you're not ready for this type of back and forth, especially when your initial energy is to kind of expose someone. Now you have someone here with you exposing you. And in a minute, you're about to expose yourself, right? So it's just all of these things that I could have done better in this exchange. I'm the useful idiot because I allow somebody to get me out my body. Period. And I feel that it was beneficial to the other person because of because of the title of his show, right? Confronting Jazz. So in this moment, of course, it has to seem like a confrontation because that's how he set it up to his audience. Oh, you guys, I'm so sorry. Hold on one second. Hello? Okay, sorry about that. Oh my God. It's always something. So it's just like, bro, I know the conversation is all about Jazz not being able to compose herself, but I definitely have made progress, right? But the exchange with Fatty lets me know I'm still a work in progress. I'm still a work in fucking progress. And I wanted to share that with y'all because I know it may seem like he was trying to help, but the things that led up to it, saying like, oh, I'll only answer your response on your live. Then I'm going to make a show saying I'm confronting you. Then when I ask you about the language you use, it was it's showbiz. So now it's like, okay, I get it. He had to make that title because it's going to garner views, especially with me. Everybody is expecting that. And I tricked myself into thinking it was going to be anything other than that. And I didn't have the self-control to get myself out of that situation, to not add fuel to that fire that, you know, was kind of building up. So let's go back to but that's why I felt like, is this a setup? Because like why do we need to fight about this? You know what I'm saying? Like, why is this I'll only talk to you on your stream to tell you about yourself. That was just interesting to me. So let's go back to, is this it? Okay, here we are. Mhm, mhm, mhm. Thank you to all 7 people that are in the building right now. I know it was a pushback show, a late show, whatever the case. It's Friday. I know people still outside doing their thing. So if you're not here right now, you'll probably catch a lot of this on a replay. But I appreciate y'all for being here. Shout out to you. Um, so let's continue to review.
I don't have to be with her. I don't have to date her in any shape or form. So I don't think you should actually even fought on that uh, topic because I don't think is debatable at all.
Well, I felt that it was debatable because it's one thing to be attracted to men who you feel can protect you, who can defend themselves in case of danger, who can, physically make sure that you're always safe. Uh, that's something different than women like criminals. That's something different than women like violent men.
So if I said
I
woman,
appreciate a man that is assertive, and is confident.
Y'all, my comments are off. I did not know that. I did not know that. Oh my gosh. I did not know why are my comments off? And how do I fix it? Oh my gosh. I didn't know that, y'all. I'm so sorry. Let me try to fix it real quick. I'm getting comments saying that my comments are off, and I didn't even know. How do you fix that? How do you fix that? I don't understand. All right, give me 2 seconds, y'all. I gotta fix this real quick. We're gonna play a little music real quick. Give me 1 second. Oh my God, y'all, I figured it out. I'm so sorry. I know I lost a few of y'all, but the comments are back on. The comments are back on. I had a setting. I had the wrong setting on, and it wasn't letting y'all comment. It was an accident. Sorry. You know, I'm still learning. I am still learning what the hell is going on in this. But let's get right back to it. I'm sure you guys will catch the replay. Sorry about that. I know it's a little janky right now, but it is what it is, guys. So let's get back to how I made myself a useful fucking idiot, man. And I know my videos, I mean, in the description, it made it seem like it was Fatty's fault, but it's not. It got the people going, though, didn't it?
And can defend himself if need be. But I'm never attracted to a murderous criminal or a man that is a violent criminal or a career criminal.
Totally fair. Do you think most black women will be attracted to 50 Cent in his prime?
Do most women?
Do you think that most black women will be attracted to 50 Cent in his prime in the early 2000s when everybody was wearing baggy clothes and doing this?
So again, y'all, this was like these questions had nothing to do with my plan for my stream. And where I fucked up is engaging in this line of questioning, right? Engaging in this line of questioning, trying to criticize my stance on things, which totally derailed. And I should have been more composed instead of trying to prove myself, prove my stance with these questions and say, yo, you know what, babe? Let's pick that's an interesting question. Let's pick this up another time. Let's pick this up another time because during this moment, if you see, I'm getting like irritated. And knowing when you're getting irritated and knowing when to remove yourself is key in these situations. Once again, y'all, my bad. I see y'all coming back in. The chat is back on. My bad, my bad, my bad. I tweaked so bad. Thank y'all so much for joining me tonight. I appreciate it. If you're just tuning in, we are talking about how I made myself a useful idiot. I know the description made it seem like I was going to be in here victim blaming, or not victim blaming, but being a victim and blaming somebody else for my actions. No, this is about Jasmine, you need to do better. Jasmine, you got more work to do. So if you're just getting in, thank you for joining. Leave a comment. Make sure you like, share, hit the bell, do all that stuff. And let's keep it going.
Soldier Boy, do you think, the Superman, do you think that most black women, if they had the chance to date girlfriend and boyfriend to marry 50 Cent, do you think most black women of fertile age, of that age, do you think they would go after 50 Cent if you actually look at them?
I mean, sure. Yeah.
What is 50 Cent known for?
Him as an artist, he's known for gang banging. He's known for talking about street shit. He's known for selling drugs. As an entertainer, that is his image. As an artist, sure.
No, as a person, he was shot 9 times. Like he came into the scene being a menace. He was already a menace. So
but
go ahead.
I would not say that he came in the game still in the streets, because as soon as he became a rapper, he became an entertainer. He became an artist. He became.
So we're talking about 50 Cent now. And you guys may say this is Fatty's way of preparing me to be a better debater. And maybe it was. It didn't feel like that in the moment to me. But then again, I am still very new to this space when it comes to debating in spaces like this. And for me, it was just a matter of, not really teaching me, at least that's how I interpret it, not really teaching me what to do better, but trying to challenge me on my thoughts. And that just wasn't what the stream was about. And I definitely could have done better to navigate this so I can stay on topic for what my intentions were for the stream, right?
An actor.
Yeah, he was a street dude. He was a dude that shot nine
Okay.
times, that gang affiliations. Like he would portray that. Like you can tell me that why like black women don't love that. And the point is, white women love the sex, drugs, and rock and roll thing too. See what I'm saying? Like it's not a black person thing. Like if you had the chance to get one of these dudes that was crazy high on drugs, doing some the degenerate behavior, most of these women, white women, will go after them too. So that's my point is, and this is why I didn't stop the conversation to this point, is because I don't think there's a fighting stance. This is just something that you observe in nature. And if you're going to be honest, like most women already dated this dude. They might not keep them because that man is unstable or toxic, but most
So
women dated this dude.
Yeah, I disagree. I disagree. It's one thing to be attracted to an assertive dominant man. It's another to be attracted to career criminals, to violent men. Like just because someone is edgy and drives a motorcycle and wears a leather jacket doesn't mean that he is prone to violence. Doesn't mean that he is prone to rob somebody.
What if you're a part of the Hell Angels? Because that's what we have here in Europe, and you.
So y'all. I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. But this was a fight. This was a fight. Another thing that I wasn't prepared for. And I'm just like, what is it about me that feels the need to always need to prove myself? Because in this moment, it's like, Jasmine, shut the fuck up and say, you know what? Not right now, gang. Not right now. Not right now. Because we're not talking about who will want to date 50 Cent to try to prove a point that he was trying to prove, like, oh, it was unnecessary for me to say what I said, and it's nothing to fight on because there are women who do this and that. My whole point was this girl said this was biological. By definition, that means that's something that a biological means that that's a trait that everybody that is in that biological species should share. And we don't. That was my only argument with this. I never argued the fact that there are some women that do like the edgy guy, the Hell's Angel guy, the tough guy, the bad boy, whatever. I get that. But there are also a lot of women who've never had that experience, who've never dated a bad guy, never dated a criminal, never desired them. So therefore, it's not biological, right? So that was my only thing. But it's like everybody's making it about, well, it doesn't matter. We know that it's not all, but she made it all. And when I asked her about it, she made it racial because the biological argument was falling apart. But it's like what I'm learning, people like Pearl, who is very like popular and has a lot of subscribers in this space. This is a person that a lot of people feel can do no wrong. This is a person that feels entitled. Excuse me. And there are a lot of people that feel like they have to accommodate the bullshit. Not saying that's what Fatty is doing, not saying that's what anybody is doing, but this is just an observation of mine. Even when a big content creator can be dead ass fucking wrong. If a smaller content creator rebuttals or reacts or push back to the bigger one, even if they are right, you still are going to be looked at as the antagonizer. And that is what I ended up being. Because we all know during this initial live, I was calm, cool, collected. Everybody agrees with that. Where I went off is this back and forth exchange. And what I realized is because you're on the defense, Jazz. You're on the defense, live and in color, and you don't know how to reel your shit in. You don't know how to let it go. You don't know how to say enough is enough. And that's when I learned, like, bitch, do you always gotta be right? And it's not even that I gotta be right. It's about don't misunderstand me. Don't misunderstand where I'm coming from. And also, don't try to get me to concede to your beliefs. Because what your belief is about the situation is not mine. And I feel like in this moment, this exchange was happening because it had to be confronting Jazz. Do you understand why I kind of like, it's like you're here to do one thing, but now we're doing another, and now we're off the topic. But I understand why that needed to happen, especially on his end, because to his audience, they're looking for a confrontation. And I became the useful idiot because I gave them the confrontation based on my lack of composure, based on me not following my intuition. Even if like, I'm not even saying like you knew he was going to do that to you. No, it was, you're not ready to go back and forth like that and about this right now. This isn't going to work out well for you. You need to do this alone and get your, get your strides in, get your reps in by yourself before you allow someone to come up here and recap with you who wants to come up here and tell you about yourself in a sense. Tell you that you need to do better. Tell you that you didn't do this right. So it's just like my gut already told me don't do it. And I did it anyway. And I gave the people what they wanted. And so now it's obviously going to look a certain way on my end. As Fatty said throughout this thing, people are going to clip it up. People are going to say things. But the thing about that part, though, I can stand on whatever it is that I said. I can stand on it. I don't hide it. I don't deny it. I said what I said. And if somebody wants to, she said this and I said that because of this, you know? So it's just like, I watched this back and was really like, bitch, you got to do better. For real. Like you got to do better. You got to learn. You got to be able to use better discernment when you feel yourself bubbling up, when you feel yourself like getting irritated. You got to get up out of there. You got to get up out of there. You know yourself enough to know that the longer you sit in this irritation, everything else is going to come out like a spaz. Crazy. Against the grain. So we'll play a little bit more and then we'll move on a little bit and we'll get out of here.
Probably from the United States, the L Angels is a gang. It's literally a gang. This is ride motorcycles and all, but they are a gang, and women flock to them.
Okay, but are they a gang actually committing crimes? Are they a gang actually being violent towards people, or are they just a biker gang called Hell's Angels?
No, the L Angels are involved in a bunch of shenanigans because once again, you have to finance these people, like the gang violence, battery, drugs. Like these people are doing the same thing once again. They're engaging in bad behavior. It's not that they're just badasses that drive a motorcycle. They're actually engaging in criminal activity too.
Okay, so you're talking about Hell's Angels.
Yes.
There are, like I said, there are some women that do find that attractive. There are, I guess.
Most,
however, the blanket
statement, and see that most, I find in these conversations sometimes, if you don't concede to what someone wants you to believe, they're going to continue to challenge you. They're going to continue to push back on you. It was, I said some, he said, no, it's most. Why can't we agree to disagree? Why couldn't I just have said, sure. If that's what you believe, sure, and move on. But I'm spending so much motherfucking time trying to prove my point, and it's getting us nowhere. And it's derailing the goal of the show, which to expose this hoe. Ooh, baby, that's still framed tough. is to expose her for the goofy that she is, right? It's like, damn, Jazz, you took the bait with this racist, and now you're taking the bait with other content creators. And maybe even though it's just words, it's show business. That's why it's like, were your intentions really to, make me look good? But with the lead up of, I'm going to make it seem like we're confronting each other. I'm going to set this up a certain type of way. It just makes you think like, damn, the lengths people go to for discourse is wild to me. And so now it's just, I took the bait again, because now I'm exposing myself as somebody that can never just have a regular conversation. But that's also not true. And we'll talk a little bit more of that.
That it is a biological thing, I don't agree with. There's there's no scientific data that says that when women are born, they are going to desire violent criminal men.
Wait, because when women are born, they are not they are not having sex with people. They're not attracted to people. They are kids. Once they get into puberty, and they actually start to develop feelings for the opposite sex and all that. This is when women are going to be attracted to dangerous men. Once again, please tell me. Let's see this angle, right? Tell me the most desired man in the United States for the Black community.
And right here, again, now y'all let me know. Because what I'm hearing is, I was trying to help you, right? I was trying to show you why you weren't prepared. Remember in the text message thread, it was, I'll tell you why you are unprepared on your live. In this exchange, I didn't feel all right, hey friend, this is where I feel you fell short at. Here's where I think you could do better. In this moment, for me, it just felt like I got to be on the defense and defend my mindset. And that is not the type of energy that we wanted. And I don't recognize help in this way, right? I don't recognize help being brought in by way of chastising me on my mindset, saying like, she's right, you're wrong. That was nothing to argue. It's like, well, shit, what the fuck? And here, that's why my face is looking like it is where I should have just said, all right, G, thank you for your input, but we got to keep it moving. But the need to be right, not even the need to be right, because I'm okay with being wrong, but the need to be understood is so heavy in me. Like, please don't misunderstand me, because I'm going to fight you to the death until you do. And it's like, baby, stop that. Stop that. There's a quote out there, and I can't remember who said it, but it says, stop trying to convince people who are fixated on misunderstanding you. There's no reason. What are we doing? You got to lock in with yourself. And I feel this is something that I feel this is the nature of humans in general, but more prevalent in women, because historically our voices have been suppressed for so long, especially when it comes to our interactions with men, that when we have these interactions, we just gotta hear me roar. Da 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 da. It's like, girl, calm down sometimes. Calm down. First of all, none of this shit is that deep. This shit on the internet, all of this, it's not deep. But when you're an empath like myself, or somebody who's like really genuine and very intentional about how they move, you just think everybody else has good intentions too. That's not the name of the game, baby. And so I learned from this. I watched that back. I promise you, I don't know if I said this earlier, but I promise you, I was so embarrassed by this behavior. I text my people, like, bitch, should I delete this? Very disappointed in myself.
Can be a fictional character, a famous person. Like, tell me what is the person that you think is the like top five of most desired, right? And let's future out of the way. Let's go with somebody that you like, or somebody that you would say that most women will go for.
I don't know, because I may not think who I think is desirable may not be desirable to a lot of women. So I don't know.
But but you're a black woman, right? I don't want to put.
And again, how come I don't know wasn't a good enough answer? I don't know. I don't know. I am one black woman. I don't know all black women, and every black woman is not a monolith and like the same things, which is kind of like the start of this whole argument that all women like a certain archetype of man, and they fucking don't. Now, what you pay attention to the type of women you may like, they may like a certain type of men. You may want the girl that likes the bad boy. You may want the girl that likes the athlete. You may want the girl that likes all of these things. So because that's what you like, you think every woman I like likes these things. So that means all women like these things. But either way, Jasmine, Jazz Noel, this wasn't the topic of conversation. Why couldn't you keep yourself together long enough to concede and let that brother go? Because even when you say, I don't know, he's asking you again. But, what about this? What about that? It should have been, I don't know. But this is what I do.
Put words in your mouth. So I'll go first. Goes from power. Goes from.
And you know what's so funny about this first example? I'm sorry, I have to stop this because so many men, including Fatty, always say that all women prefer man over 6 feet, right? We need them to be over 6 feet. Da 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 da. Do you know how tall Omari Hardwick is? The actor that plays Ghost in Power. He's not even 6 feet. Cute ass face. Cute ass face. Sexy as hell. Absolutely. But he's not even tall. Not even 6 feet. So that's why I'm saying, like, when men go off and they say things like, well, women like this and the third, is it what we like? Or is that what y'all like? When you see a man like Omari Hardwick, do you be like, man, look at his light skin and how smooth he is. Man, I know any girl will go for that. Cause you might go for that. I mean, it's and that's not no shot at Fatty or anybody else. I'm just saying, as an observation, it just seems like a projection all the time. There's this archetype of men that men constantly say, and then they'll bring up super like immature women who are very shallow, who say things like he got to be 6 feet and all of these other things to confirm that bias. But there are so many women who will date a short guy or this guy. And it's just like, this is what will lead to an argument. Because now I'm about to argue with you about this, that, and the third. What women like or what don't like. But this is what he thinks we all like and why I should have conceded.
Power will get, in my opinion, 90% of women if he actually came across them. Easy. Give me a person.
He fine. Okay. And I said, like towards the end when he brought up 6'8", and he said, "What a guy that's short, like 5'9" or 5'4" or whatever, but still handsome, still got money, still da 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 da. Will he get played too? Yes, yes, yes. Ray J short as fuck. Kevin Hart short as fuck. There are plenty others short ass entertainers out here that have no problems getting women. And I don't think they had problems getting women even before they were who they were. When you have personality and charisma and a handsome face, It really doesn't matter your height. I'm telling you right now, unless that's a strong, standard of the women that you like. But short kings win every day. I'm just saying.
That could
Okay.
actually
Yeah,
outdo
you're
Ghost from
right.
Power.
Yeah, he's cute. Method Man. Method Man, but that's for me. I know some women that don't find him attractive.
Method Man been my crush since I don't even know when, y'all.
That's just me. I would say the guy you just said in Power, Method Man. I know he's actually my friend, but Leroyce Hawkins, he's from Chicago, he's an actor. They just named him sexiest man alive, and I know so many women think he's attractive, but he's not a bad boy or anything like that. Are we just going based off just attraction?
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Like this is what we're saying is attraction is yes.
But the thing is that physical attraction versus like what they do on a daily basis are two totally different things.
Yes.
Because Leroyce is not out here being a criminal, and there are millions of women that are attracted to him. Method Man is not out here being a criminal. Maybe he had that life when he was younger, but there are still a lot of women that find him attractive. So my thing is this, Fatty, I get it. There are some weird women that like violent criminal men, but say some. Don't make it a biological standard, because that is false. There are
It's like every time I say that part, it just goes over people's heads. But it's okay.
There are some women who are attracted to the fast life. And a lot of times these are women when they're very young and very immature. When we're talking about grown women, a grown woman still actively choosing a fucking criminal or somebody that's violent, there's something wrong there. So when we're talking about these things, what women do, okay, so some women at a certain age may find all that fast lane, unstable shit attractive, but eventually they don't. They grow out of that. So that's why I'm saying
attraction is not a choice. There's the problem. No matter how many people make the stallion puts in jail.
So again, y'all, like I said, this is about me. This is about me. We're getting so far off of the initial goal of the conversation that I'm knee deep in trying to explain myself. And that is something a lady should never do. And I definitely have a tendency to over-explain my position, all this, that, and the third. Again, giving fuel to the fire, becoming the useful idiot. Every question that he's asking, my response is getting more intense. Every question he throw it out, I'm like, but this, that. You knew better, Jazz. You knew better. Fatty's innocent. He came to do what he came to do. He came to do what he came to do. But you didn't, Jazz. You couldn't even finish what you was trying to do. And that is because you have so much more work to do. Just period. We'll go a little bit more, and I'm going to jump it to when he comes back, because that's when things start to flail out a little bit.
She's still
that find 6'8" attractive now. When they do some growing up, they're going to look back and be like, what the fuck was I thinking?
No, they still like, this is what I'm talking about. You're not living in reality. If that man was 5'4", nobody would approach him. Facts. There's no conversation to have about it. If that man was 5'4", nobody would approach him. And let me be honest, you can put that man in any corner of the world. You can put him on Brazil, you can put him in Portugal, you can put him on Vietnam. It will always get stares because he's a giant. Like he's not that.
And I think that is, I mean, well, yeah, if a person is a giant, yeah, you're going to get stares from everybody. If you are like...
No, sexual attention, sexual stares, sexual attention, not just, wow, look at this gigantic person, like sexual attention. You think most people are not going to give him sexual, a woman don't give him
Sorry, y'all, my bad. But you see my face, right? What are we talking about? You should have got up out of there, Jazz. You should have got up out of there. Cause it's like, what are we talking about? He's trying to convince me. I'm trying to convince him. And we're not even on topic. We supposed to be exposing this bitch. We supposed to be going off on her. Not even going off, but literally using facts to expose why nobody should fuck with this girl. And I get it in this space. Y'all fuck with whoever for coin. Y'all will align with the worst of the worst. Just for and maybe that's the game on YouTube. I don't know that game yet. But that was the initial thing, and that's why I'm so mad at myself, is because like this, I knew this was not going to go the way I wanted to, the way that it needed to. So let me fast forward just a little bit. Thank y'all for tuning in. What y'all saying in these comments? Let's see. Yeah. Thank y'all for tuning in. I appreciate y'all so much. Let me jump a little bit over.
What's your character like? How well do you?
So I'm going to go fast forward a little bit to where things start to get a little intense, where my behavior was just flat out, ridiculous.
Procreate and date men with felonies. That's not uncommon. So
Okay,
especially in the Black community, if we're going to be honest, that's
well, yeah. Well, I was going to now tell me where at all was that necessary?
It was not necessary, but it was fair game.
What made it fair game?
We are talking about people. She gave you white people examples multiple times.
And see, this is where I start getting irritated. This is where I start getting pissed off. Because the assumption was, because she made the reference about Ted Bundy, that I should have assumed that she was specifically talking about white women. But when she made the reference about Ted Bundy, she said all women. It wasn't necessary, but it was fair game. How? Because if she, here's my logic, right, y'all? Because if she really had said initially, well, I think women tend to like murderous criminals because look at the white women that were dating Ted Bundy or writing Ted Bundy. Look at the white women that got knocked up by Ted Bundy in jail. In my experience, excuse me, I'm so sorry, y'all. In my experience, I've seen women love murderers. Had she had said that, I wouldn't even asked, had that been your experience? I wouldn't have asked that, because you made it specific. You used an anecdotal experience based on your own experience as a white woman to drive your point. Cool. We good. The terminology of biologically hardwired that all women do this was my only point of contention. And if she would have said that, if she would have started with white women do this, there would have been no reason for her to have then said, especially Black women. Do you see what I'm saying? It would have been no reason for that. So I get it now. I get it. I'm getting criticized because they felt that my pushback was a moot point, because I should have assumed that she was talking about white women when she made that reference. So I look like the antagonizer now because I didn't make that assumption. For me, I don't see the logic in that. You got to say it for it to be a thing, right? But I see now, maybe that wasn't a necessary, even though it piqued my interest to ask. Maybe it wasn't. And I also wonder if what I said was such a bad, like, bad taste, like a bad question to ask. Why didn't the panelists, the moderator, stop me when I said that? Like, has that been your experience as a woman who just said all women do this? You know, maybe I didn't have to ask that, but I did.
You don't accept it. So she said, especially in the black community.
She didn't.
You don't accept it. You see these words? I got to be on the defense now. I got to be on the defense. And I think we as women, we got to learn, look, you don't always have to be on the defense. You don't. Let these motherfuckers think what they want. They're not. Stop proving yourself to people that are fixated on misunderstanding you. It's never going to work out.
She never, when she made that reference about Ted Bundy, she didn't say, well, because, you know, a bunch of white women were writing Ted Bundy. She said, not what we think she alluded to, not what we think she insinuated. She literally said, well, you got to understand women love criminals because you got to think about Ted Bundy. Women were writing Ted Bundy. She didn't specifically say white women. So why is it that the black reference ever had to be brought up when we were still talking about women in general? At least that's
Because you didn't
I
accept
thought we were talking about.
Because you didn't accept the first one. And this is why, Jazz, a lot of times you actually lose people, is because you have 7 events that happen. And there's one very weak event and there's one very strong event. The strong event legitimizes everything you feel, and the small one is actually nothing burger. And you stick on the nothing burger instead of going to the main event. Now people can discriminalize you. This is why most people, when they're reviewing this video, they're talking about the black woman loving criminals. They're not talking about the
Wait,
herpes thing.
let me
The
go back.
herpes thing.
I want to go back. Cuz he basically said like it was a nothing burger to ask her to challenge her thought about all women being biologically made to do a thing. So because I challenged her on what women do, it was fair game for her to say what black women do. When we are all in agreement that nobody was talking about race. That's why the confusion makes me frustrated. Because what was wrong with my question? Let me go back.
Yeah, I still don't understand how it was necessary to make it. If we were talking about women's propensity to naturally be attracted to criminals, why did we have to say? I was walking down the nuance of her statement of us, the biological hardwiring of it. There was absolutely no reason for her to say. She wanted to keep driving her point because I feel she knew that her argument about all women are naturally attracted to this, her argument was falling down when I challenged her on it.
There was
That's the reason why
you had no proof. You had no proof. Your proof was some woman, some woman. Some is nothing because I can do some everything. Men love big booties and big titties. Some men love fat woman. Men, you see what I'm saying? Like you can literally do it about every single thing. Woman love big dicks. Some woman love micro penises. Like you can do some about everything. There's not an argument. Some is not an argument at all.
But the thing is, she said all. So there's no way. So if I'm perplexed by somebody saying
he's still saying the most. So y'all can see, right? Like he's not doing anything wrong, but where I went wrong was trying to get him to understand where I'm coming from. Where I went wrong is allowing this exchange to happen when it should have been the focus on what the focus was. And because of that, it got me to a point where now, even though I'm passionate about my stance, the delivery on my take is coming off as emotional now. Because now it's like I'm getting frustrated. Because why are you using this moment to fight with me? But that also means it's like once you realize somebody is fighting with you, just let it go.
all women are no, she said all women are biologically
But
harmful.
what if she said most? Would you agree with that?
If she said most,
Yes.
if she would have said most, I still would have been like, I don't think it's most women, but I wouldn't have had pushback. Because
So if she said most, you wouldn't. She said most
I would have
women.
been like, I wouldn't say most. I would
Because
still probably
yes. What
I would
is
still say,
all? Because
huh?
nothing is all. You see what I'm
I agree, which is why you shouldn't say things like it's biological. So why, but long story short, as you all have seen,
Going to date your type. You're just not going to date the type that has
it's
the
getting
type of
elevated.
narcissistic traits that can properly.
Let me, Jazz, you are not controlling your emotions. Like, because
I am
you're
not here
not
to talk
listening.
about
Jazz, you already not listening. You already not listening.
And this is where things get heated. Because he's on my stream trying to control the situation and then telling me I'm being emotional. He starts to bring up Anton Daniels and all this and that. And I should have exited stage right a long time ago. Like I said, he didn't do anything wrong. He didn't do anything wrong. He did. He made the post saying, I'm about to confront Jazz. That's what he did. I gave him exactly what his audience was looking for by being the useful idiot and not staying in control of my emotions when I am on the defense. So I want to pause it right here because it got crazy. But the idea that I don't know how to have decorum in these spaces and, because I did catch a bit of his live yesterday. And, the narrative is I don't know what to do in these spaces and I'm always doing this everywhere I go. But there are quite a few panels that I have been on where it's an even conversation. I frequent the DPMO morning show with 2K and Black TV pretty frequently. Never had an issue. Never had an issue at all whatsoever. Never fell out, never crashed out. We have topics, we go back and forth, we agree to disagree, and we end it with a smile. Ask a Brother podcast, right? Did a whole interview with him. We disagreed. There was no crash out, there was nothing. But I want to share with you what he said about his experience with me, right? Because I know it's easy to believe, but it it ain't all like that.
Witnessing and what's being called.
So let me go ahead and pull up kind of like something that Ask a Brother said, just to vouch that me not being able to handle myself in certain environments or just not being able to handle myself in these conversations is not true. But he said something very interesting in this when he spoke about his experience with me.
Co-signed is contributing to the decline. And again, the gradually 0.8% Black men's marital rate is slowly climbing. Yeah. So I'm like, if they're still getting married, and if you have a thought about this, much of men's ability unhappy, is it really just Black men just hate themselves and hate their mamas and hate their skin color? Or is it more so about what they're seeing and witnessing and what's being co-signed is contributing to the decline? And again, the gradually 0.8% Black men's marital rate is slowly climbing. Yeah. So I'm like, if they're still getting married, and the stats say what they say in terms of the overall community, ladies, you're totally fine if you don't want to get married. This message is just for the ladies that do, or for the ladies that do want to lock in with a guy. You just got to view it.
And I'm prefacing by saying this was a different interview he was having with this gentleman. I was in the comments. I made a comment and he mentioned me.
Start to see this stuff a little bit different. Now I got to show this because my homegirl pulled up on me. Jazz Noel herself pulled up the high. Now we're homies, by the way, because although we disagree and we have different philosophical views of the role of feminism, the role of the manosphere, and what's helpful, what's harmful in different respects. And we can disagree about each other's approaches to social media or just with stuff like this. Jazz has never disrespected me. Ever. And I personally believe that that's heavily connected to how I've treated her. Even if I disagree with her publicly or privately, she's never disrespected me. So says how do men?
And I wanted to talk about that because he's right. There's never been a situation where we have had a falling out or we were disrespectful with each other, even when we disagree. And it's partially, a big part of it is because of the way he treated me. I'm able to go on the DPMO morning show with two men most of the time. And even though we disagree, I'm still being treated with respect. My opinion is still being valued. And what I've realized is that when I enter spaces like Fatty, when the energy is all about fighting each other, right? I haven't necessarily navigated how I respond. How I respond to people who are blatantly being disrespectful or blatantly trying to antagonize me. Because if I can manage going to this platform and this isn't the experience, but when I tend to go to these platforms, this is consistently the experience. Am I the common denominator or is it the platform? It could be both. Because at the end of the day, I choose how I respond. I choose how I want to get my message across, whether someone is being disrespectful to me or not. But it seems like I thrive better in environments, in these spaces that value my opinion and respect my opinion and not try to tear my opinion down just for having it because they don't agree with it. Even with Anton Daniels, we all know that's how I first got into this game. Right? The first exchange I had with Anton, we got into it. I didn't know who he was, he didn't know who I was. We did not disagree on anything. But I still kept coming back. And there were crazy moments. But there were also moments where I didn't say anything at all throughout the entire stream. One of the last streams I was on with Anton, we agreed on a lot of stuff. That was a few weeks ago. So I know, the narrative is this is what she does. No. What it is this is what I do when I feel like I'm on the defense. So now I got to protect myself. And what I realize, I'm always on the defense in certain environments. And I think they know that too. Right? They know like, oh, if I bring Jazz over here and I bring so and so over here, all so and so has to say is this, Jazz gonna give us what we need. See, I didn't know people was moving like that. When you being authentic in how you respond in things, you're just being authentic. You're not really thinking about the delivery of message. But what I'm learning, what I am learning is that you have to in these spaces. You really have to be pragmatic and strategic on how you respond because every response can get taken out of context and it's going to further confirm what they already believe about you when it comes to me at least. So even though I was crazy and stuff on these other times, the one time I'm not crazy, which was like this experience that I had with her on that panel, I wasn't crazy at all. I'm still made to look like the crazy one. And with this exchange with Fatty, I became the useful idiot. right? Someone that maybe he didn't intentionally set it up that way, but maybe there's a little subconscious there because it's not like you guys aren't smart. You know what you're doing. You know how to set things up. And so what I've learned is always be on guard. Know when to shut up. Nobody else can control how you respond. Only you can control that. But if your intuition is telling you one thing, go with that. Because if I had listened to my intuition, we wouldn't even be here right now. We wouldn't even be here. So I don't know. There was a lot more I want to cover, but honestly, I'm not trying to be here longer than 2 hours. I wasn't even supposed to be here this long. But the whole point of this was to take accountability on my behavior. Because if I want to be someone that is taken seriously, I got to learn how to be able to enter these spaces and have the the biggest armor of stoicism at all times. And like I said, even though even though, I have made progress of the last few panels that I have been on, there hasn't been any fallout. Even one of the last panels I was on with Fatty, his super panel on a Friday night. They were on there for 6 hours. I didn't speak for the first 3 hours. Didn't say a word. And I was on that panel with another person who I had just gotten into it with, who was baiting me, literally calling out my name during that exchange. And I didn't respond. I didn't say anything. So it's like I know I'm capable and they know I'm capable. But as soon as I fall short, this is what they're going to run with. So, like I said, all this taught me is that you got a lot more work to do. You got a lot more things to learn, and you got to get your emotions in order. And sometimes it's hard to decipher what's emotional and what's passionate, right? And I think that I can get so passionate by the time I try to state how I feel, it's coming off as emotion. And that's something I need to work on. So that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about. I hope it made sense. Like I said, I know the description was a little, you know, some people felt attacked. There was a lot said about me on that stream yesterday with Fatty, and I wanted to kind of review it here, but he made it private or put in his membership or whatever. But there were a lot of things that he touched on that he seems a little bit confused about on how things kind of took a turn. But at the end of the day, he didn't do nothing. He did exactly what a content creator like him is supposed to do. So I ain't mad at you. I really ain't. But I'm glad that you did what you did because this is helpful. Did what you did as far as like reviewing our review on the stream yesterday. So I don't know. You guys tell me. Does it make sense what I'm saying? Do you understand why I could have been a little argumentative? When you're on the defense, you just wanna be right. You just wanna be right. And in that moment with Fatty, I just had to be fucking right. Not that I was wrong, but I just had to be right.
chill back, fall back, and listen to what I'm saying.
Chill.
Because you are not listening. You are listening to response.
I'm not here for you to critique me on how
Jess, I'm telling you what is happening. So Jess, I'm telling you, already conceded. Pearly things came on the panel to do race fatigue, to clickbait, to race bait, to go to work. I already conceded. You are not listening.
So
And this is what
I'm doing.
Can you stop talking for a second? Even on like you invite me. Can I talk for a second without you interrupting me? Please? Please?
I asked you to respond to me in a DM.
And I'm responding to you, showing you what is happening right now. Jess, please. This is what white people do. Somebody killed George Floyd. And for me to actually prove that George Floyd was a criminal, he had a look at his record. He was a criminal. He was on fentanyl. He was doing this. He was doing that. I don't have to talk about that shit. I have to talk about the knee on the neck for 9 minutes. You get so distracted that instead of focusing on the smoking gun, on the things that clearly are race baiting, you want to talk about everything and reply to everything. That's why I was bringing Anton. What you have to say when Anton says, look at my people, the people that I employ, look at my wife and all that, you just have to separate both. You have to say, Anton, on the microcosmos, you are actually pro-black because your wife is black, your kids are black, your employees are black, your show is black. So on the microcosmos, you are actually pro-black.
No, I wonder if you know what pro-black really means. Because just because you marry black, have black kids, and write checks to black people doesn't mean you're pro-black at all. Pro-black does not mean that. Donald Sterling literally got exposed for being a racist. And he was cutting some of the biggest checks for those athletes. So it doesn't really matter that. But but you see my face. Right here is when I should have left or dropped him out. Because now we're talking about a whole nother content creator, and I don't even want to make it about this. He's like, when you on Amazon. And what's also very confusing is that, babe, in the moment y'all said I didn't do anything wrong. So of course I'm going to be on the defense when now you're telling me that I am.
But on the macrocosmos, your message is not aligned with pro-black. Is actually shitting on the black community because the black community is trash and fuck Martin Luther King and all these things. So instead of focusing on everything, focus on the macro and stay over there. You are here talking about Pearly and you are using things that are not evidence of her being racist mixed with things that actually are racist. So when she picks this up and she reviews, you know what the part that she's going to review the part that she talked about Mangione and she talked about all the serial killers that was white. You didn't concede, and then she went to the black thing. So I'm helping you. You are not listening.
No,
I don't. I honestly, and maybe I just have some more growing up to do. I didn't see the help in any of this because there was no macrocosm that I was focused on more than just her saying the biological nature of women. I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
Well, here's the difference. Y'all are making it like she already made it about race just because she used 2 white murderers. She didn't. That's what you're not understanding. I didn't have to concede to that because she used a white example. She just used examples of violent men and that women were still attracted to them to further her point that women are naturally attracted to criminals. It wasn't about race, fatty.
Did she say that white women were attracted to criminals too?
And see, and that's what I'm saying. And that's what I'm saying. I don't see how this was helpful. I don't. I just don't see how this was supporting me. I don't see it. But hey, maybe this is how y'all do it. Y'all say, you know, I got to help you by criticizing what you said to a racist. Okay. Okay. At the end of the day, I responded poorly to Fatty on this stream. I continue to try to explain myself. I'm going back and forth because I'm on the defense with him. And that is why I became the useful idiot. Because they're eating this up on his stream, right? They're eating this up. I'm confirming what they already believe. And that's where I fucked up, y'all. And I just feel like we, especially as women, we got to get better on not getting so caught up in trying to defend ourselves all the time. I feel like I'm repeating myself at this point. But that's really all this was. Just to really hold myself accountable, because there was no need for me to react like that. There was no need for me to respond like that. But that just lets me know, yo, you gotta do the work. This is the game you want to play in. You're gonna have to get hip to the game. They move how they move. You need to move how you need to move to protect yourself. And maybe tailor your delivery on certain things. Because he mentioned, like, oh, Pearl's going to clip this up and da-da-da-da. Like I said on that, I don't, it's going to happen anyway. I still said what I said at the end of the day. The whole comments about, you know, me inflating the numbers about white people doing crimes, I think I said 99.8%. That was me exaggerating. That was me embellishing, talking shit, trying to give grace to 2% of white people that don't good crime. I knew that wasn't an accurate stat. Because he called that out. Like, how all of these inaccurate stats, even though she didn't pull out no accurate stats either, especially when it came to who Black women date. That was just literally an opinion rooted in racism. So it is what it is. At the end of the day, I need to do better. And I will. I will get better at this. This showed me so much, so many ways that it's going to make me stronger in these spaces so that I can control my emotions, so that I am not putting myself in a position to be hurt. Not by Fatty or anybody, but just mentally drained by what comes with all of this contention in these spaces. So here's what I learned. Follow your instincts. The first time it was let me talk to you on the live, and the post about confronting Jazz, blah, blah, blah. Should have said no right then and there. Not because he was coming to do something wrong, but because it didn't feel right in my gut. Not because he was going to do anything wrong. I was going to end up doing something wrong, which I did. He right. I wasn't listening. After a while, I stopped listening. Because once I'm irritated and I don't care no more, I don't care anymore. But I guess I also didn't feel like he was coming from a place of love. And I think that's okay for me to feel. I don't feel that he was coming from a place of actually wanting to help, especially based on the setup. But at the end of the day, he did what it's showbiz. So I learned to follow my instincts. I learned that when you feel that contention rising, when you feel like you're on the defense, it's time for you to draw back. It's time for you to reassess, recalibrate. Because when you're in defense mode, Jazz, you're going to start fighting. The Chicago's going to come all the way out. We're about to get to cursing. We're about to get to yelling. We're about to do all of the things that don't put us in a flattering light. Can't do that. This is how you become the useful idiot. Let me read y'all what the definition is real quick. Thank y'all for joining. So I asked chat, what is a useful idiot and how can one avoid becoming one? A useful idiot is a term often used in politics, social movements, or ideological conflicts. It refers to a person who unknowingly supports a cause, agenda, or group that does not truly serve their interests, usually because they don't have the full information or haven't questioned what they're being told. They're useful to people pushing an agenda, but idiots in the sense that they're being manipulated without realizing. The only reason I felt manipulated was because of the buildup, the confronting Jazz, setting up an argument. But I'm supporting the cause because I'm believing this is just going to be a regular conversation. But subconsciously, like I said, y'all know the game. The strategy was always there. And I gave them, right? So it says, what makes someone a useful idiot? Someone becomes a useful idiot when they say, repeat talking points without checking where they came from, support causes or people who would harm them or their community, fall for flattery, emotional manipulation. That's, for me, that's what gets me. That emotional flattery is going to get me every time. And that's what I got to do better. Because look, I'm going to tell you, when I posted, well, when I sent him the video or the screenshot of the post he made about confronting me, the language in his messages was like, come on, Jazz. It's all good. We're not about to fight. It's showbiz. Come on, I wouldn't do that. Playing on my heartstrings. Playing on my heartstrings. Not saying that you intentionally did do that. It did ironically ended up happening that way. But I went off of my original feeling because of the emotional manipulation, if you will. You know, emotional manipulation or group pressure, fail to question motives behind what they're told. Even when I did question the motive, I still didn't follow through on my first, on my first mind. So it also says how to avoid becoming one, and this is what I should have did. Develop strong critical thinking. Don't take information at face value, even when it sounds good or feels emotionally validating. Ask, who benefits if I believe or repeat this? Does this align with my values and interests? What evidence support this claim? All things that I did not ask myself. Who benefits a conversation confronting Jazz? Not Jazz. Not my audience. Does this align with my values and interests? Did that confrontation align with what I was trying to do that day? No. I could have said, let's do another panel to do this. What evidence supports this claim? What was the evidence that supported I needed to be confronted? Remember, this all started in the DM with a message. So it's just like all the signs were there. It was the lack of critical thinking that I used on my end to avoid putting myself in a situation that would not be in my best interest. And I'm saying this loud and clear. Fatty didn't do anything wrong. This is what he does. This is where he comes from. He didn't do anything wrong. I lack the social awareness, the critical thinking, and the emotional composure to experience what he was trying to do with me in that moment. And I thank you. I thank him for that. I thank him for that. He got me. He let me know you ain't done. God ain't done with you yet. Even though I've been making progress, bitch, keep going. Cause getting loud and doing all this and blah 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 blah, like he said. You said the best defense is a strong offense. Sure, that's true too. That's absolutely true.
Never said anything. She never even used.
So she didn't say that white woman were attracted to the serial killer Nanjiani and to Ted Bundy. She didn't say that.
She said you had women. She did not say white women. She didn't.
So she didn't say that Ted Bundy. So she didn't say that Ted Bundy.
It's like Jazz. That's a lot. Just let it go. So y'all, I'm gonna wrap this shit up right now. Thank y'all for joining me. I appreciate it so much, and I hope this kind of made sense on where I was coming from. I have a problem with not taking emotional bait, especially on topics that I'm very passionate about. So now I've learned better, and I plan on doing better. I think Fatty is going to have a jazz fatigue stream about me tomorrow. Make sure y'all tune into that. Sounds like it's going to be a good show. If you have his membership, you can go and look at the stream that he did yesterday for his Thanksgiving marathon. It was really great. He talked about me for 3 hours and pointed out some really interesting things. So go and check that out. But all in all, guys, we're a human being having, we're humans, having an experience in this world, and we're still learning and we're growing. And it takes situations like this for us to acknowledge that we still have a long way to go. So I appreciate y'all for tuning in. I know it wasn't that fun this time, but tune into more content that's on the way to you. I appreciate y'all. Happy holidays. Hope you have a great weekend. And I'm out of here. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, do all the things. I hope this was helpful and encourages you to not allow yourself to be a useful idiot in any situation. Use your discernment, follow your instincts, make sure it aligns. Because no one is at fault of the outcome but you. That's all I got. See y'all next time. Thank you so much. Peace.